Hey everybody, welcome to Surfer of Life podcast, the place where we dig deep into the performance mind and find out how they focus the best, but in a good vibe also. And today I have a very good friend of mine as a guest, a former professional freestyle skier and a jibber or whatever you say it. He's done a lot of things. Welcome, Jani Nygård.
Thank you.
So, here we are, sitting on your couch. How was the day today?
It's just a normal worker man's day. Things change a bit.
All right, today we are going to talk about your career as a freestyle skier and as a guy who was doing a lot of extreme sports. I guess you're still not stopped yet doing those things.
Yeah, I still go skateboarding now and then, and we had your 40-year-old birthdays and went rollerblading, skateboarding, a little bit BMX, and
Sounds good. So, but we'll get back to that later when you have this negotiation here. But hey, okay, let's start. So, let's go back to the very beginning. How did it all start? How did you become a person who was doing extreme sports, and what was the first sport you started doing?
well, like many kids in Finland, I started with soccer and ice hockey and stuff like that, and I guess it was through ice hockey that we bought the first rollerblades. We did some skateboarding before that, but kind of it came from there, and from rollerblades I turned to skis by an accident, by getting to one sponsor to another, and Salomon had the idea that they only wanted to search skiers to rollerblading.
Okay, I remember because I was doing that rollerblading too.
Yeah,
we've been in the skate park together many times, and I was already grown up when I started doing that. I remember that you were way younger, so you were just a young kid almost.
Yeah, I was 13 when I started rollerblading, and actually everything went really fast. We rollerbladed a lot and kind of, I don't know, learned the tricks from, I don't know what reason, but learned them really fast. And I think that was 14 when I did the first competition in Finland.
Yeah, I remember when we were at the skate park and you showed up and you were a young guy, but you kind of had everything under control pretty fast, and I was checking out that this guy is amazing. And how did it go? Because you were young and we were already grown up, sort of, over 18, 20 years. So how was it? Older guys, you as a 13-year-old. How did it feel?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think you always look up to the older guys anyways, and I don't know, I think the influence that you guys had to me was pretty cool. It changed a bit when I got roughly 16, 17. Different influence. Still good. No complaints. But different stuff back then. But yeah, I think I always look up to the older, and because you did all the big handrails and stuff like that, so that was kind of like a big jumping point to me, that like doing the small GURPS and stuff like that in the park is so much easier than you guys were just goofing around and doing all the big handrails and not being afraid of anything, I guess.
How was it back then when we still talk about the rollerblading? How did you think about it? Was it serious or was it just having fun? Or
No, I think at some point it got a bit serious. After like the first comp, the guys from K2 and they pretty much owned the park, so they gave me keys to the park and free rollerblades, so kind of changes a bit. And back then there was still a lot of people doing it professionally around the world. Nowadays so much smaller, but kind of like back then I was thinking of that this is something that I want to do for a living. But it all changed when the rollerblading kind of went down after all the bigger brands, they stopped making those, and kind of like the whole industry went down really, really fast.
You said you got roller skates, so you were sponsored already as a young guy.
Yeah, I got after the first comp, and when I was 14, after that I got to skate for K2, or the importer of K2 in Finland. And after that I got invited to the Salomon team, and which kind of like changed the whole deal. Because we were hanging out this in one small sport shop, and it's kind of like really a coincidence that we used to hang out there, and this one guy from there got a job on Salomon and kind of like took us there to Salomon. And the marketing manager Antti had the idea, like I said before, had this idea of getting the new skiers from rollerblading, because the tricks are same and a bit bigger, but still the same. So that's how I end up in skiing business.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when you got to skiing. And so was it familiar for you, skis? Did you ski before as a younger guy, or did you snowboard, or did you have anything to do with snow?
Yeah, I started with skis like every other one kid back in the days. Started with skis at 4 and turned to snowboarding when I was 9. So I did the snowboarding, I did till was like 14, 15, something like that. And then Salomon gave us the snow blades and longer skis and longer, and then yeah.
Okay. So snow blades, you said. Tell me something about snow blades. That's old school, right?
Yeah, it's actually it's still a lot of fun. We did it back 2 years back in Ylläs. It's a weird sport. It gives you, they're so short and small, and everything gives you this idea that nothing can go wrong. You can do whatever you feel like, doing flips from flat and stuff like that, but there's still I don't know, they're like so well attached to your ski boot. they will screw off your ankle. Happened to me 3 times.
So Solomon got you to skiing, and the first thing was these snow blades. So was it natural after roller skating to put those on, shorter skis?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of like it gave us the possibility to go like do the same jumps that we did on rollerblades, but do them much bigger and have more airtime. So it's kind of like is the thing that I really started liking the most. And of course, with at some point with longer skis, the whole idea, kind of like the concept goes, you can go bigger and bigger and bigger, but like, I don't know, it just it really felt the same. And after many kind of like a lot of rollerblading and a lot of jump on rollerblades, I kind of had the landing point that you have to have in rollerblades is so short compared to skis that you always have to kind of like land straight on on your foot, so you can't lean forward or backward when you land. So it kind of like gave me in skiing, it gave me a kind of like a small advantage in like in the beginning of the competitions and everything.
How was it after that when the skis got longer? Was it weird?
Yeah, first it was a bit hard. I think I really didn't have the leg muscles. I have a couple of videos somewhere that we're jumping, and it's pretty much the first days on long skis, like 170 skis and Nurmes water jumping, and it kind of like looks that I'm like really willing to go big spins, but the skis aren't. The skis go straight and I'm spinning.
Sounds good. Okay, when you started skiing, it was first, like you said, it was the snow blades. and then with those longer skis. And back in the days, there were already many years back, there was this freestyle skiing, but this was a new wave. This was something different, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like what they call the new school skiing. It's kind of like just, I think it's somewhat evolved from like the mogul skiers, like free, like a day off activities, like doing jumps and going to the snow park with the snowboarders. And I think it kind of like JP and Julian and those guys, and actually Blumi also. They were like really the pioneers doing kind of like trying to do the snowboard stuff on skis. And I don't know, that's where it started, and it was totally a new way. And I think it also changed the kind of like the competition world of freestyle skiing, because the mogul skiings and the aerials and stuff like that, they were so strict as a disciplines, and new school skiing was more like just goof heads having fun.
How did it go with the serious freestyle skiers, you and them? Did you get along?
Yeah, we always got along. It's just they're nice guys. They still are. Every single one that I still know, they're super nice guys. But it's just the sport is so, the level is really high, and the whole, it was just especially back in the days, was so different compared to new school stuff, because we're kind of like, we wanted to be similar to the snowboarders, just like having fun and taking it easy, and still on, let's say, mogul skiing and especially the alpine stuff, they're like really strict, the rules and everything, what you're allowed to do. But in new school skiing, there was no limits what kind of flips you're allowed to do. And
so you were in the first wave of this new school skiing, and nowadays it's called still freestyle skiing.
yeah,
So it all came together. But were there any older guys or examples for you, or did you just figure it out yourself?
no, like I said, like Julian and JP, a lot of the French guys, or the Canadian and French guys, they were like really the pioneers, and they had this couple of like the really first ski movies out of this kind of like sport. And we were always watching the movie 13 and kind of like trying to repeat that, what those guys did. And at some point kind of like got really close to it, but first corks and stuff like that.
You come from Finland, and in Finland, where I also live, there's no mountains. There are no big hills, some hills up in north, but down south here in Helsinki, where you also live, there's not many places to go skiing, or is there?
Yeah, I've always went to Talma. Well, I started in Kalpalinna, the skiing, but as the snowboarding comes and the free skiing after that, it's always been, if I'm here and skiing, it's Talma, or let's say filming in springtime in Lapland, but in Helsinki area, it's Talma. It's they call it the Star Factory, because you get so many loops that you learn how to ski or snowboard. You evolve fast.
Is that why from Finland comes also a lot of good snowboarders in trick-wise? Because there's not much else to do than do jumps and handrails and things like this, because the slopes are so small that you just jump a couple of times and then you have to get up with the lift again.
Yeah, it's like in, let's say, Talma and Serran, the small resorts here in Helsinki area. The lifts are so fast, and so you get so many loops per day, or so many jumps per day, although the jumps are not that big as you have in States on those like super parks they have. But I think it's I think every single pro snowboarder, pro skier says if he's ridden in Talma when starting the career, it's the icy landings that touch you out land. It's always the same.
So ice teaches you.
Yeah, ice teaches you it teaches you a lot.
Okay, but you were still quite young when you started skiing, and okay, you had Talma, you had Serena, these small slopes, but I guess there was hunger for bigger mountains and bigger areas. So how was it possible that you got in there when you were a young guy?
Well, when I started skiing, I kind of like ended up on Salomon ski team by accident through the rollerblading. And for the first, I think it was spring when that happened, and the next year they had these few different kind of like small contest tours in Finland, and I did those for the first year, and I think I went to Sweden the next spring for one contest, but it kind of like went from there, and the next year was pretty much Sweden, Norway, couple of comps in Alps, and it started going from there to bigger and bigger circuits, and kind of like, I don't know, the normal way, but it was the Salomon way how they wanted to do it. It kind of started with the small travel budget, go around Finland, and if you do well in the contest, they give you more money to travel more, and that's how it goes.
So I know because you told me that you spent also longer times up in the mountains, up in the Alps. How was that possible? Did Salomon do all the
No, with
things?
well, the sponsors help a lot. Also saved money. We also saved money by just ski bombing around the Alps, living where we could. We had a lot of friends back in those days, and actually one thing that a lot of the teams had back then were they having these kind of like cottages that the riders can use. Usually it was from like a national team of Austria or national team of Germany, and they had these huts that you can go, and the guys, you can bunk there for a couple of nights and go ride with them, and that's kind of like, well, sleep where you can, ski as much as you can, eat something, drink a couple of beers maybe. There.
Ski bomb. I always remember myself. I was kind of wondering. I would love to do that, but for me, I took a different path. I went ice hockey, and it just took all my time. And it was later on. I think it was a bit too serious, so I didn't have any time to go travel to the Alps to do that. But so it's very interesting to hear. So how was the situation where you said ski bombing and you were just gathering money, doing some small work maybe to get money to buy the tickets?
Well, I didn't do any work, kind of like work at when I was skiing, when I was out Alps. I was in the construction works during the summers, so kind of like saved me a bit money from there if I could. And then, like I said, the sponsors help a lot, and then just kind of like the sponsors always pay you the trips to go to the contest or go filming something for the shoot or stuff like that, and you just kind of like hang out the meantime in the Alps between those. So kind of also the sponsors save money. They don't have to fly you back and forth from Finland. You just stay somewhere in Alps, crash on some friend's place, and then just go to the next place. At some point, come home when it's spring, snow melts.
Did it feel like a skier family up there? So, like you said, there were some cottages or hostels or whatever. Like you said, there were maybe national teams, but you still said that they gave you a shelter. They gave you a place to stay.
Yeah, kind of like I always was, believe it or not, kind of like the shy guy, especially abroad when traveling, and Jonte was always the guy that was kind of like really hooking up with the Atomic Team guys and like the Salomon guys and everyone, and I was always kind of like just chilling in the background kind of like I was talking with Jonte's big brother like a couple of ski expos ago about how many guys we still remember that we used to ski with. It's like, let's say there was like from out of 100 guys, 10 guys that you can remember. So, so I was always kind of like somewhere in the shadows.
Okay, but these was great times. At least it feels like that you're laughing a lot. So I think you had great times. So any good? I think you have tons of good memories from there. But any good story to share from those times?
No, I can't remember any.
There's
so many stories that we share too many stories in Finnish.
Well, we get back to those. Okay, this was the start. This was the sort of the beginning, and the career continued. So, and you started competing as a skier, as a freestyle skier or new school skier nowadays as a freestyle skier. So, how did that start?
Yeah, like I said, it started from the small comps and kind of like I think the biggest thing was going to Sweden and Norway for the first year. It kind of like helped me a lot with the, because there's usually the contest that you have in like the bigger ones, they're invitationals of some sort, and kind of like doing the Sweden and the Norway comps kind of really helped me to get the invitations to the bigger comps in Alps. And we had Stimorol Open. Well, European Open that, but still it kind of like really had to climb the ladder from the small comps in Finland to get to the bigger comps, but still kind of like I really digged it, but it wasn't always kind of like the coolest thing just to go. I didn't feel any pressure, but still it's comp is comp. Free riding is free riding.
There you said it. So free riding, I guess the name tells. You feel free.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever, and competition is different. You said already that you didn't feel any pressure, but how was it when you went to competition? Was there any pressure? Was there any excitement, any nervousness, anything involved?
Well, kind of like some sort of maybe a small pressure from the sponsor side, but I never kind of like took it too seriously. But of course, some kind of like feeling a bit anxious before your first jump or stuff like that, or if something goes really badly wrong and you crash every single jump in the practice, and like, yeah, nice, let's do the hula. But nothing big. It's always been the same with the competing or the filming, that kind of like you can feel a bit sketchy when dropping in, but when you actually drop in, it kind of like you just concentrate to what you're doing, and you know that you know your stuff, and just kind of like still feels the free riding, but different way than the actual free riding.
Okay, in competition, style or best tricks? What's your opinion?
I kind of like the style, but then again, it's they should have. I always like once we had this. It was in Gstad. What is Gstad? Gstad. Well, in Switzerland, a lot of rich bitches. Anyways, we had this contest that you had 3 runs. 2 runs were kind of like do what the hell you ever want to do, and 1 style run which was, I think, 540 was the biggest spin you were allowed to do or something like that. But that kind of competitions they should have more. Because nowadays, if you look at the competitions like 4 flips and I don't know how many spins, and it's so, I'm really kind of like voting for the style, but then again, you have to have like the whole technicality to put the guys on line. If it's just, let's say X Games is 200 180s, that's not the easiest task to judge.
So, well, as we know, every sport develops, and also skiing. Now it's way different than back then.
Yeah, it's so different. Like when I was still competing, it's all the competitions there's like they were so much more mellow than they're nowadays. It's now it's just a pure sport. Guys go to the gym to be able to do those 40-50 meter jumps. And back in those days when I was skiing, it was 900s mostly, with the different twists and corks and grabs and occasional 1080s. No doubles or anything, triples, quadruples. So things changed a lot, and the sport got much bigger. Like nowadays, it's X Games is sponsored by the U.S. Navy, and a lot more money, I guess, involved. But people take it so much more seriously, considering like how we did back in the days. Couple of beers and you do the jump. That's no biggie.
So maybe there is a little bit more pressure nowadays involved. I don't know. I haven't been around there, so I really don't know about that. But you seem to be a cool guy on those situations, so no pressure. But we get back into those small parts in this conversation. You already told me that the competitions meant something for you, that they were maybe not the best thing for you. They were okay, they were necessary, that you were able to ski, but you still like more that free skiing. How long did you compete?
It's from 99 till 2006. I think it's 2006 I did the last European Open, and that was kind of like, for me, like the point that I realized that the competition stuff, it's not for me anymore. It's just, I did one run, or did I? Yeah, one run on slopestyle, and that's it. Kind of like goofed around a bit. There was bad weather and really didn't get the speed to the bigger jumps, so kind of like went from there, and I just wanted to nail this one thing on the whole slope run. Only it is 20 meter long pressure box over the whole box. But yeah, that was the last comp for me, and kind of like really felt good. And then after that, we just spent 5-6 days because the park was super good. So we just kept for 5-6 days. We just kept riding the park, and so nice memories from the comp side as well.
How was it back then? Was there any gear involved? Did people wear helmets? Any pads?
Not bad. A lot of people wear helmets, and in some of the bigger comps, it was actually mandatory to wear a helmet, but not as strict as like nowadays. Like in Nokia contest, you were still just wearing a headband and headphones and super icy jump. But I never was a very big fan of helmets.
As you say, it was a lot of having fun, even though it was a competition. Was it the whole atmosphere? Was it like that back in the days? Or was it serious for some people and some people didn't take it that so seriously?
Well, some guys did. When I was still competing, some guys kind of like were doing it differently. just to point out one who kind of like came a big success pretty much because of that, how he kind of like handled all the comps. Jon Olsson did a pretty nice career, but he was always, because a lot of like in the bigger competitions we had a pretty nice prize purse, and we usually always divided with all the skiers, all the snowboarders, so that everyone gets something and we just have fun and always still comp, but just for fame and not so much fortune. And Jun was always that, no, we can't divide it. I want to win. I need the money. I want to travel more. So he did, but yeah, some guys did kind of like wanted to do it a different way, but mostly was just, we're here, let's have fun and enjoy the ride and the free travel and see who's the best today.
Crazy fun for you guys. I know one story in Seville. Can you share us that story?
Oh, yeah. You mean the competition or getting to Seville?
All together, I guess.
All together. Yeah, we had this crazy, Nokia had this crazy idea of pulling all these competitions in hot environment in Sevilla and Athens and Cape Town and stuff like that. So we're in Seville this time, and we kind of went out last night with Isco before heading to the airport and flying to Sevilla, and really didn't sleep that much that night, having an after party at our house, and I dressed up as I think a 70s gigolo or something. Somewhat. And yeah, I traveled with that, and I have to say Nokia's Johan, the rider manager, wasn't really that happy that we came a bit drunk and dressed up as monkeys to the comp site. But the bad thing was that I was, let's say, we have been like 15 minutes in Spain and already lost my wallet, my passport, my phone. Still had my skis and ski boots though, so. But yeah, so the kind of like the comp went a bit weird after that, because we had to go to the consulate to get me a passport and get me a plane tickets and stuff like that. So kind of like the comp went that we did the practice. I went to the cup station. We came for the semifinals, and I went to the consulate, and then we went to the finals, and then I went to the consulate and straight to the after party, and straight from the after party back to the consulate and to the airport and flew back home. So bit different competition trip, but sometimes this happens.
Okay. How were you able to concentrate between those things, that you went to consulate, that you went back to the competition, you went to police station and back to the competition? All in the middle of all of this, you had to do some tricks, right? Was it the big jump competition? Or?
Big jump, yeah.
Okay, it's a big jump. So how were you able to focus on the jump?
Well, in practice I did just one jump. One big 360 and that's it. Just tested out the jump, so I had to go to the police station and get back, and semis did 1.7 and 1.9 almost blew my knee, or went a bit too far. But with the 7 I somehow ended up in the finals, and well, at the finals went actually pretty okay. I did a couple of 900s and ended up third, but still, it was a lot of hassle. But luckily, Nokia and Seat was working together, so we got the Seat drivers to drive around cup stations and consulates. But yeah, we managed. And I have to say, the best after party I've ever been in my whole career. Freaking awesome.
Amazing. You had all these issues on you and you still got in the third spot.
Yeah, kind of like got a bit lucky, I guess, but still somehow managed to land my stuff.
Wow. I'm sure there's a lot of those stories. A lot more to have, but we stay here. And now, let's not get too serious about it, but let's chop it a little bit into pieces, because I'm really interested of how you very good athletes and performers can focus in the small, minor moments in the sport and in life. So let's go back to the competition and let's go back to split it in, for example, for one jump. And when you were preparing yourself for a competition, did you have some kind of routines or methods you used before the competition?
No, I don't know, not that many like routines. I always, if it's a big girl, I always, like in Seville, I always try down with the cork 3. Because it's the, I don't know, kind of like felt the easiest, felt the kind of like the best thing to test out the jump. Straight line is always straight line. You overshoot, you get scared. 360, you don't see it the whole time, so it kind of like doesn't feel that bad, especially in the biggest of the jumps. And I don't know, it's just usually listen to some rap music or reggae or something, kind of like just mellow myself down. A couple of times tried the hard rock, doesn't really work that well. A lot of overshooting. But yeah, just listen to good music and talk with the other riders and just kind of like trying to have the atmosphere as kind of like chill as possible. And then again, you're doing the jumps in contest you usually do. It's just you've done them so many times. And it's kind of like, it might get scary if, like we talked before that, if kind of like you do one really good jump, let's say like I did in 7, and or I did a nice 9 on the finals, so it's, you can always step up the level a bit. Ended up crashing, but anyways. But the thing is that it's kind of like I don't know, normal big jump, you've done many of those, the same tricks you always usually do, so it's a pretty chill moment after, and the crowd is always there.
How was the crowd affecting you?
The big contest I really digged it, and like in Seville and the Nokia stuff and the city flies that we have in Helsinki, and we're in what the hell is the name of the town? Well, anyways, like the big contest that you have 20 to 40,000 spectators. Those are like really cool moments to think in the rocking chair when you're old and crumpy. But yeah, it's always it did help. It's kind of like it pushes you the next. Let's say you did something cool that they like and they cheer for you. It pushes you shitloads for the next jump, of course.
Seems like that bigger the pressure, you get a better feeling. More crowd, more pumped.
Yeah,
Better feeling.
I don't know. I never felt pressure under, like, if there's a lot of crowd. I'm just still doing my stuff. Kind of like I was, like in Spain, I was super happy for Mauro, like the Spanish skier that was there. This was really cool when you kind of like, before you dropped in, you lift your hands and 35,000 Spanish guys whistle and yell. But when Mauro did it, fucking hey. Never heard that loud sound coming out of a crowd before. It's freaking awesome. And he jumped right straight after me, and they had this platform that you stand and you wait for your points and for the next guy to jump. So you can see the next guy jumping kind of like from the platform. And when he kind of like raised his hands in the air and everyone starts whistling and he did his jump, bastard landed it, won the whole freaking thing. The whole thing kind of like just break loose and but yeah, good moments. And so, but never felt any pressure under kind of like the crowd. Just they're there to support you, not to be against you, I guess.
What happens in that moment? Okay, you feel the noise, you feel the crowd, you see the crowd, but when you drop in and you're ready to face the jump, the lit, can you describe what kind of feelings you have then?
I don't know, I'm so concentrated. I kind of like I always wanted to go as big as possible. And for me, like the biggest, like those contests, they were just like straight line the whole in run, and then just when they kind of like the lip starts to rise, kind of like stand up from there and just pop as hard as you can. And that's why I did a lot of BO9s in the bigger contest, because it's kind of like it's a upward kind of like a flip kind of thing, so you can pop it so high up, and all the corks are more like just kind of like lean back, more backflippy kind of. So I always wanted to go as big as possible, so I was kind of like just concentrating just to nailing the pop, getting as much speed as I can and just nailing the pop. Because if you get a lot of speed and don't nail the pop, you go way too far.
After the pop, you fly. You fly in the air. And after jump, you have any memories from flying in the air? Do you understand the situation there and what's going on?
Yeah, I know the time slows down so much when you're, let's say you're flying. It's only like 3 seconds at the max. It feels like 10 seconds, and I really kind of like always did my jumps that like did the first, let's say from 900, did the first like 540 really fast, and not really fast but still fast compared to the last three. And then kind of like after the 540 I just kind of like open it up a little bit and just let it flow, so I can just like really have time to take my crabs and bone them and everything and make it look stylish.
And when you do the trick in the air, do you feel like it's gonna be good? You feel like
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
know,
land as you say stomp, right?
Yeah.
So you feel it in the air that this is gonna be okay.
Yeah, you pretty much from when it goes off the lip, you know if how it's gonna go. You have a lot of jumps behind you, so pretty much you can somewhat land. If it goes really bad, then it just goes really bad. But yeah, anyways, if you're competing and you're doing, I hate those moments when you kind of like you pop it and then you feel it straight away like fuck. Because you truly know it straight away. You can, if it goes semi bad, you can't even get your grab. You have to kind of like maintain the spin somehow to get somewhat landed. Or it might go a little bit kind of like wrong that you take your grab and somehow the glove slips or something, and then like, no, let's fuck it. Just land on my face. But yeah.
In this kind of sports, there's always a lot of slams involved. There's a lot of injuries involved. Did you injure yourself a lot?
Well, kind of a lot, but not as badly as some people. Had my few good hits, but what I had, blown knees quite a lot, shoulder, a lot of broken bones, wrist mainly from stupid rails, and did my ankle 3 times. I know, quite a lot, in a way, compared to a normal jaywalker. Maybe quite a lot, but well, nothing that bad. I'm really happy that how I kind of like survived. Had a few cool crashes, but
Not that much. Just some broken bones, a lot of broken bones. Okay, so a lot of hospital gigs then, and a lot of X-rays to be taken. But what then? You crash, you slam, you break your leg or whatever, you twist your ankle, and then you have to get back. How does it feel? You get any scared after that big crash?
well, kind of like I always tried. If I just could ski, I always went and tried again. But of course, if you break your ankle, you're not gonna try anything again. But I don't know. It's kind of like it usually, if something bad happens, it kind of like it still takes you time to get over it. And I don't know. It's let's say the baddest feelings that I had have always came from the rails, especially handrails. Like filming handrails in town, and that's something that easily got you scarred a bit and getting scared the next time you're filming, let's say, the same rail, or at least it makes you think like, why the fuck I'm here again? Why the hell I'm gonna try the same thing again? But then kind of like you pump yourself over it and you try it again, and then it's just still again pure concentration and you're able to ski. But I don't know, with the jumps, it's something goes wrong, it goes wrong, and it's, I don't know, it's I still kind of like trusted my skills so much that it wasn't, it was, of course it was my fault, I fucked it up and crashed, but still, if it's a normal familiar jump, just go again. And I don't know, never got that scared. I guess I learned it from you guys when you're doing the handrails. You don't have the thing that you can get scared.
So the handrails were worst when filming, and you told me now that you got a little bit scared, but you just pumped yourself to the feeling that you're gonna do it again. Did you do it differently every time, or did you have a certain way to do it to get you back on track and kind of go over that fear moment?
I don't know, I guess, like, let's say if you talk about the handrails, I did like doing it. If I heard myself on one handrail and we're filming it again, I kind of like, I know I'm gonna take a lot of in runs and just break before the lip and kind of like trying to pump me over the holding thing. But then it's always at some point that you kind of like have this moment that, come on, we're here, we're doing this thing, you're not gonna back out of it and just go. And when you kind of like, when you're doing those in runs and like breaking, but you're never on those times, you're never actually anyways gonna do it. But then you kind of like just have this moment that now I'm gonna do it, and then you just drop in and then you're gonna do it like you normally would do it even before the crash. And it's kind of like it's a mind game of your own that
People are talking about the flow, or one idea is a no mind state, that when you just do as your sport, you just drop in and you do the jump, you do the handrail, and you're so focused that you just do it. You're not thinking so much. Can you recognize this feeling?
from my dreams, I guess. I know, yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't know. It's like let's say we've been rollerblading together, and you have some of these days are just freaking good days that you kind of like. I think the flow is that I've been thinking about it through skateboarding a mini ramp, and I think the flow feeling that comes from that is that you nail few tricks, and after that you kind of start trusting yourself a lot more, and you're not scared in any way anymore. So it's kind of like you just go, and I think I sometimes I skateboard much better than I'm actually able to skateboard because of that flow feeling. And same in skiing or snowboarding or whatever extreme sport, that you have one of those. Sometimes you just have those days that everything kind of like from the beginning they start to pop the perfect way, and you can do all these tricks that you haven't done before, and then it kind of just goes from there, and you end up learning 50 new tricks in a day. So that is flow for me.
I remember that myself also when I was roller skating, that once you get in that flow, you just do the tricks.
Yeah.
And it all goes well. But I remember also when I got my period was quite short, from maybe 18 years till 20 something. And when I thought at the time I got older. I wasn't old, as we know.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking that, okay, if I jump here and I land bad, I will hurt myself. And that was the situation when I really did that. I hurt myself because when you started thinking about it, this might happen to me, then it really happens. Yeah. So I lost the flow. I know what you mean. Okay, but competing wasn't all you did. Like you said, you were having fun and you loved free riding, but then it went to a different level and you started filming, like you said. But then also you were making your own movies or documentary.
Yeah, we're more, like I said, I started filming a lot of photos for like European skiing magazines with a couple of Finnish photographers, always when I was in Alps. And it kind of like started from there, and then we did back in Finland, we did a couple of ski movies, and I was in a couple of Salomon's movies and Armada's movies. But then, like you said, we started doing with Plumi, we started doing this documentary about our travels, and it was Plumi's idea, and I kind of like I met Plumi in Norway, I think, Sweden, Norway. Oh well, hell, somewhere in the northern hemisphere, and we were talking, and we were traveling quite a lot together. We've seen ourselves many times in Alps and Norway and stuff like that. So it was kind of like, I don't know, it felt the right path to go, to be able to do exactly what you want. Because always filming something like someone else wants, let's say like photographs with the filmers, it's always like go from there, do this. Or Oscar free talk that, hey, how about if I go from there and jump from there to there? But doing the whole thing with Plumi like the way we won, kind of like it felt the right choice at that moment. And we got the sponsors to back it up, so kind of like that's why I moved there.
Was filming pushing you further as a skier?
Yeah, it always felt that kind of like when you see yourself from the video, or you see, like we were talking before, I was really style focused. I'm looking for style when watching other guys ski and see myself ski. I'm really, really looking the style I'm doing, or liking or disliking it. But I think it really pushes you forward in a way that from video you can see, even from photos you can see if you're doing let's say the way like you want to do it. And maybe also because of that, it was so easy to start filming with Plumi, that could actually can have the time that we need. We can build the jumps together just the way we want it, and it's kind of like pushing yourself at the same time while enjoying it a lot, goofing around with good friend.
That's some years back now. When did you stop filming?
2012 ish.
12-ish. So it's 5 years ago or so. So what about after that? You still ski?
No, I switched to snowboarding. It kind of like I snowboarded before. I ended up on snowblades and then afterwards on skis. So I wanted to go back on snowboarding, kind of like have a lower level sport for myself, and at the same time have a sport like just for myself. Not being able, I know my snowboarding skills aren't that good. I'll be able to film or compete or anything, so it's always gonna be just for me.
Do you still do tricks nowadays as a snowboarder, or you just take it easy and do groomers?
Well, I like pretty much everything. I like powder, I like groomers, I like jumping. I also kind of like learned how to like rails a bit. Still suck, but I'm getting there slowly. Starting to be a bit old to learn fast. And now I can say sometimes I'm getting a bit scared of a jump.
I was just about to ask that. Getting old. How old are you now?
Turning 35.
35. I was just about to ask that. Do you get scared at all still as you're 35? Like I said, I got scared already when I was 25. I started thinking about, okay, this might hurt. So I wasn't able to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You're now 10 years more and you still do it?
Yeah, kind of. I have to say I get scared, and like you said before, it's always the thing that happens when you like if you really get scared. Like I broke my wrist with the snowboard from 5 or 6 points, and I think it was mainly just because I got scared. I was doing a backside rodeo, and let's say it's easier to land axe on a tree than land that. It was like stiff legs and everything. Like
Age is catching you up.
yeah, but I had one flow day the same year, so that's a lot nowadays. If you have one flow day.
How do you see yourself 10 to 20 years from now? You still gonna snowboard, hit the slopes?
No, pro surfer.
Okay, you're switching. You're gonna be a pro surfer.
No, I don't know. I really would love to concentrate more on surfing. Only been a few times, so now just concentrating on normal life, everyday life, and building a house and enjoying just life as it is, and maybe some point move somewhere abroad where it's waves and stay there.
Now, as grown up, I guess, there are, of course, in life, there are a lot of situations that you need to I'm stumbling now. Prepare yourself for the situation, for the moments. There's maybe some exciting things to do. You think you found a way through your sport to deal with these situations?
I don't know, at least I think I can say that I kind of learned during all this, like my whole life, that if you push enough yourself, and also you have to have the right chances to go with it, but I think you can achieve quite a lot just like pushing. I met this one skateboarder back in Savela one, and he said it's pretty hard to turn into English, but it's kind of like I was trying this one trick on skateboard and mini ramp. Just push it, just let it go, and it was like landing on my face like 10, 15 times a row. got my back truck hung up every single time. And just push it like the fucking trying to push you. Yeah, but just like you can get so far. Just
Oh, it's been a blast. It's been a blast here today. But I have one last question for you. What makes you happy?
what makes me happy? I don't know. Would be boring to say life in general, but I think the small things in life, like nowadays especially, just walk with the dogs or a perfect powder day in Swing Hill, which happens like every once in 5 years. So, like small, no, well, a big day. It's a powder day in Swing Hill. It's got a big day, but like really the small stuff, kind of like having it easy, just living it.
Great stuff. Oh, I'm truly happy that you came
Thanks for
to
having
be
me.
as my guest, and thank you so much.